Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Tracking the Wolves Coaches Show. As always, I'm your host, Sam Masten. We got another special guest on the docket. We are joined by NSU swimming coach Kaden Huntrods. Coach, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, and I know you're busy, and that kind of will, I guess, lead me into my first question a little bit. Obviously, you guys are kind of in the swing of things here with the season, and you've had a few meets here at home, on the road, and so you've had some time to kind of learn about your team and whatnot. Talk about kind of the season up to this point as a whole, kind of what you like, what you kind of want to see improve, just kind of your general thoughts as we near the first half of the season here.
Absolutely. So over the course of the year, we've definitely had some really great races. We got to our mid-season meet where we taper for about 2 weeks before going into that, and we had 40% best times, which is pretty awesome for our team. We broke our school record in the 11-meter dive with Jacie. We're really hoping to get her to the national level this year. We have some other promising student athletes as well for that. Really, in general, what we're looking for this coming into the season, really we have 2 meets and then conference, is going to be getting those national cuts. So we have some kids that are really hungry for those. We have kids that are they're hungry in general. We like that. We like hungry wolves. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I guess for the viewers at home who may, someone like myself, I've watched swimming, but primarily only in the Olympics. I'm not a ton familiar with college swimming in general. Kind of talk about, for those athletes that do want to compete at the national level, like what that looks like, what kind of marks do they have to hit, or kind of how does that format work in terms of getting them to that level?
Yep, absolutely. So kind of different than any other sport. Ours is based solely on times or scores for diving. So we have what are called A cuts and B cuts. An A cut, you automatically go to the NCAA championship, and then a B cut is a consideration time. So they take the top roughly 30 in the country for those.
Interesting. All right, well, that's good. That's good. It's good to kind of know. And so as you guys have kind of had some time to reflect, what would you kind of, transition in the second half of the year here? Is it primarily, duels with other schools? Or are we kind of going into big tournaments? Or what's kind of the schedule outlook over the next month and a half or so?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we just wrapped up winter training trips, so we do about 10,000 meters a day. So we're practicing.
Real quick, for the viewers at home, 10,000 meters in this pool right here, how many laps? Down and back is what?
Down and back is 50 meters.
Oh, God, that's a lot of math here. Hold on. So how many laps is that total here? How many down and backs?
So 1,000 is 40.
Times 10?
Times 10.
So that's 400 down and backs.
Yep.
They do that a day?
Yep.
Oh, my God. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. Just we had to point that out. That's a little absurd. Good for them.
Yep.
Keep going. Sorry.
So we did doubles. We just wrapped up on Saturday. So we're doing about 5,000 in the morning. They have an hour lift and then 5,000 in the evening. So we've done a few different sets that I really enjoy doing. We did 2,200s.
Okay.
That's more just a mental endurance, physical endurance set. We'll do a little bit of team bonding. So we took them out to the hockey games.
Nice. Wings?
Yep.
Nice.
So they like to go. For a non-contact sport, they love to see the fights.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
We did that. We've done some team bonding. We had a Hawaiian night where we watched Lilo and Stitch and got them some good food, and they were pretty happy with that.
Nice.
But it's one of those times where we really get to work on some team bonding. We get to work on really just building that endurance back up from them being gone for winter.
Yeah.
But now we're looking at a couple of dual meets, just kind of get them back in the mix of things, and then really just trying to strive for conference.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you say that with the team bonding and chemistry, because to the common fan, swimming is a very individualized sport. It's just a lot of times it's just you in the lane, but then there's things like relays and things like that. Can you kind of talk about how team bonding and chemistry, how that benefits you guys and how important that is to your team and your overall success for both individuals in the pool whenever they're swimming and to the team kind of as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is really an individual sport for most of the events they're in, and I think that's one of the things that we really like to hit on the team bonding side, making them realize it is a team function.
Yeah.
When we go and have those relays, it's a lot of trust.
Yep.
So you're used to, okay, I know I can do my thing right, but now I got to trust you and 3 other people to do that. So with doing that, it really emphasizes having that team bonding, and we'll do different drills in the pool. We'll actually build structures in the pool. They have to go down and grab stuff.
Nice.
Kind of tears the pool deck apart, but they get to build some awesome structures. And then just in general, the workouts that we do, some of them are team-based. Hey, guys, everybody has to do this right for us to move on to the next piece. So they have to work together to trust each other to do that.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's interesting. Okay, my next question, kind of something we asked Coach Burkett with the wrestling program earlier. I feel like in swimming, a lot of times discipline. Discipline is a big thing with your athletes, just in terms of their approach, both in the pool and then kind of the things they're doing outside of the sport. And discipline is a difficult thing for one to possess, but also to instill kind of in younger people. And so, how do you and your staff kind of go about instilling that and instilling, discipline and work ethic without, kind of burning the girls out and keeping them fresh come meet time?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things we do is when we're recruiting, we want those kids that are just good kids.
Yep.
And that's something we're really blunt with them about. Is a 3-step process for our recruiting. Step 1, you have to be a good kid. Step 2, you have to be a good academic student.
Yep.
And step 3, you have to be a good athlete. And if you check all those boxes, we want you here.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get here, the team bonding piece, really the drive of, hey, you need to be respectful. That's our number 1 rule.
Yeah.
And once they have that, it really flows with everything of being dedicated in the pool, being dedicated in the classroom, being dedicated in general, being respectful to everybody. It's paid off wonderfully. Last year, we were the 2nd highest GPA in D2 swimming. We were
Nice.
6th overall in the country. So
Take that to the bank. 2nd highest GPA in D2 swimming, or in
D2 swimming, yep.
D2 swimming. I stand corrected. D2 swimming. Very, very impressive stuff, Coach. All right. We're going to shift gears a little bit here, okay? I'm going to hit you with a little bit of a hypothetical, a little bit of a hardball question, okay? Every single coaching staff in this building, right? If we slapped however many lanes there are, 6 lanes, let's say 200-meter freestyle, who do you think wins? Who is your favorite to win a 200-meter freestyle in this building? Can't be someone from your staff.
Oh,
Give me your top 3. Give me your top 3 placers.
I almost want to say Rocky, I think, could do a decent one.
Oh, all right.
Just I think he's got the body figured
Yeah.
out for it. I could almost say Near, Coach
Okay.
Near.
Okay.
And I think Nate, because Nate keeps on asking me to open up the pool for him to get in and swim.
All right, Rocky, Nate, and Near. All right, well, eventually at some point what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make that happen. We're going to have you pick 6 individuals that are going to then hop in the pool. We're going to race. We're going to do all of that. Coach, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you're a busy man, but kind of lasting impressions or lasting thoughts as you guys transition the last couple months of the season here. What are we kind of trying to accomplish? What are some expectations? I know you touched on it a little bit, but just kind of as we transition here.
Yeah, expectations. We want the highest GPA in the country. So just a little goal there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Athletically, we would really like to hit that 60% best time mark when we
Yep.
go to conference. They're going to taper between 2 to 3 weeks for that, so really get that peak going there. I'd like to have 3 or 4 nationals.
Nice. All right. Well, you heard it here first from Coach Huntrods as we transition here into the NSIC conference and then hopefully 3 to 4 individuals at the national meet. Coach, we appreciate your time today as always.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Tracking the Wolves.
Go Wolves.
And we are back here. We just interviewed Seth Broussard. You can see a little bit of a change of scenery. We got Jacie Flockhart in. You're not a swimmer, but you're a diver.
No. Hi, guys. The diver.
The diver, the one and only diver here at Northern. We want to bring her in, just something special to the school. So, Jacie, thank you for coming in. Thanks for being a
Yes,
part of this.
of course. Thank
How
you
are
for inviting me.
Oh, of course. I mean, Paul was like, hey, who should we do? I'm thinking maybe like swimmer, diver. I'm like, oh, let's get the only diver. First one at Northern in 10 years. But before we get into this, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Classes went great. Practice went great. So it's a great day.
It is a great day. You know, we're back in school, second semester. We got the winter.
Yep.
I mean, it's very cold outside. It's warm in here, which is nice. I wanted to feel like I was a lifeguard, so I brought in, I don't even know what this is. Do you?
No, honestly. I think I've lifeguarded one time in my life.
Yeah, see, I'm from California. I don't really know how to swim, which is kind of funny. So,
That makes no sense.
yeah, it doesn't make any
California,
sense.
catch the surf?
I do.
What?
I'm
Or are you like more in
No, I'm 30 minutes from the beach,
Oh, okay.
so I should know how to swim. I'm not a very good swimmer. I
Hey,
should say.
Wolves swim lessons, so you can
Yeah, I
take
could.
part.
Aberdeen Swim Club, Wolf Swim Lessons, you know, quick little plug, Coach Huntrods and all that.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into this. So, as I mentioned before, first Northern Diver in
Yep.
10 years. How did that even happen? How did you, hey, let's just walk through it. How did that even happen?
So the NCSA app said they had marine biology, and that's what I wanted to do with my life. But when I contacted Kaden, they did not have it at all. But he was like, oh, you could do environmental science instead. So I reached out to Northern, and then me and Kaden got on a phone call, and Kaden's like, the first thing he said was like, we don't have 3 meter. And I muted myself and told my mom, well, I'm signing here. I don't even need to look at the school because I don't want to do 3 meter. And then basically we got me out on a visit, and all the swimmers thought I wasn't going to sign. And I ended up signing like, I don't even know, a month later, I think, or 2. Yeah, November 2022.
So you want to do marine biology. They didn't have marine biology.
Yeah.
So what are you studying now?
Environmental science and biology. And then I'm also doing 3 minors in business, psych, and communications.
3 minors
Yep, and 2 majors.
and 2 majors.
Yes, yes.
So how big is your course load? Like, what is a normal like semester looking like?
5 classes.
5? Okay.
And last semester I had 3 science classes with 3 labs. This one I got 1, which really isn't that bad. And usually
thank
it's like 17 credits. I like science. That's just my deal.
No.
Polis, by far, best science professor ever.
Shout out.
Shout out Polis. Shout out Dr. Polis.
No, I am not a science person at all. Give me math and numbers and I'm good. Let me talk to people. Let me do this type of stuff. Like, and this is what I like to do.
I like talking too. It's just I want to train dolphins or like work with dolphins. So I have to look more fancy. And if I don't look fancy, I won't get the job.
Valid, honestly. So, I mean, dolphins is pretty cool. Let's save the dolphins. So,
Yeah.
all right. Your first year here, when you came here, there was no diving board.
Ooh, yeah. That year was rough.
So talk about that story, because that's a very fun story. We already talked about it on Behind the Pack, but go ahead and just talk about it and see how it went.
Basically, the diving board was promised to be here in August, and it did not get here until October, and it did not get put on the diving board stand until January. And we had a lot of like conflicts, like basically the shipping company, like they were late on getting the diving board to us, which is why it got in so late. So it wasn't ever on like a coaching error. We just didn't get, like the company just didn't get it to us. And then when we did get it to here, the Y and Northern was like going back and forth about a contract, and then they ended up not even needing the contract, so they put it off for no reason, and then it didn't get it put on until January. And that was probably one of the hardest, no, I'd say the hardest thing is what I went through in high school, but second hardest thing in diving that I've had to go through, because it was like, I'm 7 hours away from home. I lost my second home with tumbling and trampoline. And then I lost like the third thing that I identify as myself, which is diving. And it was like, I had nothing to do. I came here to dive, and I'm not getting, like all the swimmers are like, oh, it must be so nice to get paid to do nothing. I'm like, huh, no, this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah, you're here for a reason. You want to get put to work.
Yeah.
Like, we're not just, as student athletes, people always assume that like we want time off. That's not necessarily the case. Like,
No.
we want to do what we came here to do.
Yeah, and like, I guess you could say, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just kind of like really hard mentally. I don't even know. And then like trying to get back into it, I lost all that physical and emotional and like mental, like, I don't even know, walls I built. And then they kind of got crashed down. And it was like, all that was like, I had to rebuild that this year, I guess you could say.
But I mean, still having to rebuild, you broke the dive record last year.
Yes,
And
the
then
6 dive record.
And then you broke it again.
2 times.
2 times. So you're definitely.
And then I broke the 11 dive record. The only 2 records divers can have. But
So
it's not up there yet. If you can't see, it's
Not yet. It will
Northern
be.
hasn't
put it up there yet.
Jacie Flockhart's going to be up there
Yes.
pretty soon, hopefully.
Before I graduate, hopefully.
But talk about that. And so not very many people know much about diving, right?
Yeah, none of the professors. Anytime I'm like, yeah, I'm the only diver, as like my introduction to the class, they're like, we have diving. I'm like, yeah, it's me.
But talk about first, like what you mean by 6 and 11, and then how that went, and like how, like what goes on in that.
So your 6 dives are usually your 6 optionals, which is your hardest dives. And the reason you have to do your optionals and your hardest dives is because the more difficulty you have, which is like how much the dive is worth, the easier it'll be to qualify for nationals and get higher marks. And so like you could get, if you have like a 2.5 difficulty and you get 5s on the dive, you can still get like a 42 point dive, which is pretty good for that type of dive. I mean, you obviously want remarks of like 6 and 7s, but it's really hard in college world to even get that. Diving is very opinionated. It's like impossible to get a good score. And then the 11 dive is all of your dives combined. So you have your 5 voluntaries, which are the basics, and then your 6 optionals, which are the hard dives, and you combine them, and then you get a bigger score. And in the world of diving, to qualify for nationals, you have to hit a qualifying score in the 6 and 11 dive. And if you don't, like say I qualify in the 6 dive, but I don't qualify in the 11, I do not get to go at all. So I have to qualify in both, otherwise I will not get to go to nationals.
Got it. So have you qualified yet this year?
No, sadly not.
Not yet.
This home meet this weekend is 11 dives, so hopefully I'll hit it there, and then the next meet after that's a 6. So that's my last shot. If I don't make it there, then I won't qualify for nationals this year. But also this year, I mean, it's basically like last year was a joke whenever I dove, in a sense, because all the divers looked at me and they were like, oh, you're no threat. And this year I'm coming in with a ton of like dives. They're like, oh, I didn't know this girl could dive. And like, it's more kind of about building my name this year if I don't qualify. But if I do, I mean, hey, I'll take it. But if I don't, building my name's cool too.
Second year qualifying, that's a pretty big accomplishment.
That is, yeah.
So, and that is always like something that people like always try for, especially you, and to be able to set that record or set that bar in your sophomore year.
Yeah.
That's gotta be pretty legit.
I would love to go. I've worked really hard to try and go. It all comes down to the judges' scores, and it's all opinionated, so it's basically how they're feeling that day.
Got it. Well, yeah, it's definitely a lot of different. I mean, it's not like football or baseball. You score touchdowns, you
Yep.
score points, you score baskets. It's like, hey, ooh, I liked how you did that.
Yeah,
I
basically.
didn't like how you did that.
Basically, yeah. And I like even then I could hit like an amazing dive, but it could be like one wrong thing I did, and they're like, oh, take off a whole point for that type
Right.
of thing.
So we're going to throw it back a little bit because, I mean, I feel like growing up, everybody gets thrown in. You get thrown in baseball, you get thrown in softball, basketball, soccer, football,
Yeah.
whatever it is around here, hockey. You don't really get thrown in diving as
No,
a kid. But you have a funny story, and it's kind of funny to like hear this again. So why don't you kind of tell everybody else
So
how you got into it?
I got thrown into trampoline when I was 0. Basically, my mom was doing backflips on the trampoline while she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
I did that for 18 years, and then when I was 7, my mom put me in diving at Iowa State diving camp. And one of the college divers were teaching us, she did not know how to work with kids, and she basically said, "Get on the board and do the dive or leave." And I was so scared that I left. And then I came back when I was 12, 2 years before high school, and I started to learn diving again. It was a very slow pace until I got to be a freshman in high school because there was no really push, and I was still really scared. It took me like 5 months to learn a front 1.5, let's just say it. Diving to my head, flipping to my head did not make sense. As a trampolinist, flipping to my feet for that long, I was like, this is stupid. I still think that to this day. I hate head first dives, but I'll do feet first dives like it's nothing, but I have to do head first dives, sadly.
Got it. I mean, that's kind of what diving
Yeah,
is.
it is what diving is.
I mean,
sadly.
you hear diving, it's...
Yep.
Well, and then, so you talked about it, right? You kind of started again at 12. You started to kind of pick things up in high school. You ended up having a very decorated
Yeah.
high school career. What were some of your accomplishments? There's too many for me to write down on my sheet. Well, what were some of your favorite accomplishments that you have in high school?
I was varsity all 4 years. I went to state all 4 years. I placed 10th my senior year at state. I broke the 6 and 11 dive record, and then I broke the 11 dive record twice my senior year. And then I got inducted to the Hall of Fame. So
You already got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
yes, I did. At my senior graduation, I got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
At your senior graduation.
Yes.
Wow.
I have a picture and everything. I can
Oh,
show
I
you
know. I
afterwards.
believe you. I'm just saying. I'm just kind of.
It's on my
wow.
Instagram page. I was like,
You're like plugged to Instagram. Go like the post.
yep, exactly.
Oh, that is something not very many people can say. I know people who get inducted to the Hall of Fame, but it's like they're like 40. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's a lot later.
I think it was just because we haven't had really good diving in like 20 years.
Oh.
So it was
Yeah.
definitely like, it was time, I guess you could say.
They
And
needed
there
a
was,
new one up on the name board.
Yeah, exactly. No, a lot of our kids, we had 4 kids get inducted to the Hall of Fame. And our graduating class was like the last talented class, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, like, yes, there's talent, but it's not like everyone was talented. We had
Right.
football stars, golf stars, tennis stars, wrestling, swimming. Like, it was just insane. I think there was a diver, obviously me, the swimmer, a wrestler, and a tennis player, and 3 of them were females. I thought that was even cooler.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's cool when your high school has that much talent.
Yeah.
Especially because you're from Boone.
Boone, Iowa, the middle of nowhere.
I was gonna say I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you have that, that's pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna flip the script. We're gonna looking forward. Okay, what
Okay.
do you hope to accomplish in the future in your diving career here at Northern?
I'd like to qualify for nationals one
Right.
time, at least one time. If that's like my junior year and then I don't qualify my senior year, I mean, that sucks, but like at least I went one time. That's a pretty cool thing to say, especially as like the first diver in 10 years. And then I would say just keep breaking my own records and maybe get my name up on the board.
Coach Huntrods,
Coach Huntrods,
put it up.
Kaden.
You standing right over
Yeah.
there. Go put it up. But
But yeah, those would definitely be, and I mean, every year at nationals would be great. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm trying to learn to not put pressure on myself, because
Right.
when I have pressure on me, I dive worse. But when I go in with an open mindset of like, it is what it is. If it happens, awesome. If it doesn't happen, it's not, the world's not ending. So
Right.
like, I always
mean-
did that to myself, and that's always been a problem I've struggled with.
I feel like that's the thing that a lot of student athletes have a problem doing, is that like they put so much focus and pressure on themselves to perform in their sports, when in reality we're not only athletes.
Yeah.
Like we're so much more than athletes. We're so much more than students. Like it's good to hold yourself to those standards, but to be able to realize that and be like, okay, even if I don't, oh well, guess what? Sun's still gonna rise.
And the worst part is that people like to like twist it and be like, oh, you just don't care. It's like, no,
No.
it's not that we don't care. It's just that like if we care too much about it, it's like you put all that pressure and then you end up just performing worse than you wanted to. So it's like,
Right.
might as well go in with a mindset of like, I'm just here to have fun type thing.
Exactly. And I feel like when you have fun, that's when you have the best.
Yep.
So like speaking of that, like whether it's been fun memories or just overall diving memories, like what has been some of your favorite stuff to happen throughout your year and a half at Northern?
Up here. I don't know. I would say like just practices with Jerry, my coach. He's awesome. It's crazy how I went from a very negative like background and going into a very positive atmosphere. It's crazy how like just like when I joke, I don't get yelled at for joking with him, and like it's just a lot of fun. And like in diving, when things click and it's like finally after what your coach has been telling you for 2 months, it's like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense now, a type thing. And that feeling, and especially celebrating that with Jerry, has been great.
That is definitely awesome because, I mean, you hear all the time, coaches can either make or break your careers.
Yes.
And to have one that can make your career, amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there anything else? That's all I got scripted. Anything else that you would like to talk about? Maybe shout out the upcoming meet, home meet, right?
Oh yeah, home meet this Saturday, 2 p.m. against Moorhead. It's 11 dives, so you get to see all my dives. I think, are we at the start of the day? Are we at the start? Is diving at the start? Diving's beginning of the meet, so 2 p.m. sharp. And then
2 p.m. sharp.
come watch the swimmers kick butt.
Yep, show up. We're gonna watch Jacie qualify for nationals.
Yes.
Swimmer's gonna kick butt right after. So make sure you guys tune in for all of that. Aberdeen YMCA, be there, show up, show out, have some fun.
Yes, it'll be fun.